with that.
And then 3 takes makes it even
Not in any mean sort of way. It just, I always think of the person.
Okay, good.
Really seems to be very supportive.
Yeah. It's on now.
Oh, right. But anyway, he bailed me out.
Bye.
I got 2 hours.
Oh, really? You're more you're a night owl, right?
Yeah. 2 hours. Especially when I
Good to see you. Hey, rock on. Thank you for wearing it. It fits you well.
I got a stick.
Sticks right there.
Yay.
Go right shit that thing.
Oh, good. 6 people are watching.
Chris, just give me an all clear because I don't have my phone.
We're gonna wait for Tom.
Okay.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Looking beautiful.
Oh, yay.
Hold on, I gotta turn it on.
We're good? Okay, we're on.
We're good?
Cool.
Okay.
Good afternoon, early evening to everyone. My name is Lauren Fowler Callisto. I'm the Director of Choral Activities and the Dean's Fellow Assistant to the Dean here in the College of the Arts and Communication. And these are my amazing colleagues, Dr. Christopher Herbert, Coordinator of Voice Studies, and Dr. Peyton McDonald, Coordinator of Percussion Studies. And we are thrilled to have all of you here today. And why are we thrilled? Because this is a project that was born out of our COVID craziness last May, when Chris and Peyton and I started talking about the idea of what if? What if we don't have a vaccine yet? What if we have to go back to school in a completely online environment? What if we have a way to go back to school in a partial environment where we're hybrid or high flex or partial face-to-face? What if the research tells us that we can come together as singers and instrumentalists, but in a socially distanced and responsible way? And so after all of this amazing discussion, the project, It Will Be True, was born. And to talk a little bit about the texts that we have chosen, because they are very exciting, is Dr. Herbert.
Thank you, Dr. Fowler Callisto. Thank you all for being here. So one of the things that we thought would be important for our students would be a collaborative composition project. It ticks a lot of our curricular boxes, but it also gives us an opportunity to explore some texts that are important to us. So what we did is we reached out to various colleagues from across the university, in the English department, in communication, and also in Africana World Studies, and the campus victim service coordinator. And we collected 8 different texts, and then we assigned them to 8 different groups, each group with 3 or 4 students each. And their assignment was to write a composition that that was based around the text. They didn't have to use the whole text. They could add a little bit of their own ideas to it, or they could just take specific words. And what we're going to do, Dr. Fowler Callisto and Dr. McDonald and I, we're going to read some of these texts before each piece while we give our wonderful stage crew the opportunity to clean the microphones and make sure that everything's in place. So I just want to take this minute to acknowledge our sound crew. We have Russ over here and Nick up there. And our stage manager, Tom, who's standing over there, he's helping us with our traffic flow. I'd like to thank Lou and Katie from ticketing. And I would like to thank Al Schaefer, our director of operations, who was super instrumental in making our live stream happen. We're live streaming right now on YouTube. So thank you all for all your work to make this possible. Now I'd like to turn this over to Peyton, who's going to explain a little bit about how the music composition part worked.
All right, thanks, Chris. So Chris had the idea, in order to make this work compositionally, that we have something that would connect him. And he thought, you know what, why don't we use some ground basses from ages past? A ground bass is a bass line that just repeats over and over. So he found some really nice ones from the 16th, 17th century, really nice things. And then I connected with Dave Kersner, who runs our sound engineering arts program, and I said, can you offer us a couple students who could take these and put it into their computers and do all their cool computer stuff they do and make these nice files? So they did that, and we got some really nice files back from the students. Then we dispersed them to the 8 different groups, and the singers and the percussionists that you're going to hear, they actually composed all the melodies and all the rhythmic stuff you're hearing tonight. And some of them worked using traditional music notation. Some of them would sing sound files and send them back and forth over email or text or whatever. But one way or another, they came up with some really nice pieces. And it's truly a creative, collaborative project that involves a lot of different parts of the university. So I'll read the text for the first one, The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome, her mild eyes command. The air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame, keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, the tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.
As the next group comes forward, I wanted to introduce you the work of Chanel Miller, who was born in 1992. And this is her text, I Am With You. And finally, to girls everywhere, I am with you. On nights when you feel alone, I am with you. When people doubt you or dismiss you, I am with you. I fought every day for you. So never stop fighting. I believe you.
Another day wandering when it's all going to end. You came into my world. You took what was left. Looking in the mirror, fear of these scars making their mark, tearing apart what's left of my heart. Nothing left to lose. You in the review, waving goodbye to a past I once knew. I stand and say I'm moving on from you. Others like me, I remain unseen, left with insecurity. No more despondency. Now I found peace inside of me. Nothing left to lose. You in the review, waving goodbye to a past I once knew. I stand and say I'm moving on from you. Nothing left to lose. You in the review, waving goodbye to a past I once knew. I stand and say I'm moving on from you.
So the next text we have is by Oren Lyons, who's the Seneca chief from upstate New York. And this is from a story about a meeting he had with a group of CEOs. I said, as you're coming down the final stretch, you are racing towards the finish, and there is a stone wall. And you're not pulling your horse. You're not stopping. You're, in fact, accelerating. I said, that's the way I see the use of what you call resources. You're using them faster than they're reproducing. And you're heading towards that disaster, and none of you are pulling your horse. I said, take the example of a car race. They have a yellow flag. When there's an accident, a yellow flag comes out, everybody gets into line, they slow down. They have a concept about that, at least. I said, do you have a concept of a yellow flag? Is there a yellow flag amongst your ideas or your thinking? And one of the gentlemen, we're all men in the room, maybe 50, 60, 65, he said, you know, I understand what you're saying, but to answer your question, no, we can't pull our horse, as you say. Because, he said, we must show a profit. As a CEO, I must show a profit. If I don't show a profit, I'm fired. Simple as that. I'm out of a job. I have to show a profit. I said, to who? He said, to you, the stockholder. I said, well, are you married? He said, yes, I am. I said, do you have children? He said, yes, I do. I said, do you have any grandchildren? He said, I have two boys. I said, when do you cease to be a CEO and become a grandfather? There was a lot of silence there because that was a moral question. If you don't have a moral question in your governing process, then you don't have a process that's going to survive. That's the governing law, the moral question. You must have a moral society, or you won't have any.
Walking down the final stretch, racing towards the finish. Will you choose to pull your horse, or will restraint diminish? We can never pull our horse. Something always stops us. We must have the money share, the money share of profit. But when do dollars cease to roll and guide our limbs and motions? When do we cease to be our jobs and be mothers, sisters, grandfathers? Questions but with no answers are what we have to ponder. For without a moral guide, we can't have law or order. Society with no morals is not a place worth living. Without a willingness to change, we can't change nothing at all.
Your turn.
A Litany for Survival by Audre Lorde. For those of us who live at the shoreline, standing upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone. For those of us who cannot indulge the passing dreams of choice, who live in doorways coming and going in the hours between dawns, looking inward and outward, at once before and after, seeking a now that can breed futures, like bread in our children's mouths, so their dreams will not reflect the death of ours. For those of us who were imprinted with fear, like a faint line in the center of our foreheads, learning to be afraid with our mother's milk, for by this weapon, this illusion of some safety to be found, the heavy-footed hope to silence us. For all of us, this instant and this triumph, we were never meant to survive. And when the sun rises, we are afraid it might not remain. When the sun sets, we are afraid it might not rise in the morning. When our stomachs are full, we are afraid of indigestion. When our stomachs are empty, we are afraid we may never eat again. When we are loved, we are afraid love will vanish. When we are alone, we are afraid love will never return. And when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard, nor welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak remembering we were never meant to survive.
For those of us who live at the shoreline, for those of us who can't indulge our dreams, for those of us imprinted with fear, we were never meant to survive.
In the hours between the dawns, illusions of safety be found, like bread in our children's mouths. Their dreams won't die like ours.
And when the sunrise were afraid,
It may not remain.
when the sunsets were afraid,
It might not rise in the morning.
when we speak, we are afraid.
Our words will not be heard.
Oh, when we're silent,
We are still afraid. So it's better to speak remembering. So it's better to speak remembering. So it's better to speak remembering. Never meant to survive.
This next text by Asetu Shango, Give Your Daughters Interesting Names. Many of my contemporaries, role models, but especially ancestors, have a name that brings the tongue to worship, names that feel like ritual in your mouth. I don't want a name said without pause, muttered without intention. I am through with names that leave me unmoved, names that leave the speaker's mouth unscathed. I want a name like fire, like rebellion, like my hand gripping Massa's whip. I want a name from before the ships, a name Donald Trump might choke on. I want a name that catches you in the throat if you say it wrong. And if you're afraid to say it wrong, then I guess you should be. I want a name only the brave can say, a name that only fits right in the mouth of those who love me right, because only the brave can love me right.
I want a name like rebels with their guns drawn, like my hand gripping Massa's whip. I want a name from before the ships, and yes, a name that the powerful choke on. If you have to ask why I changed my name, then it is already far beyond your comprehension. So go ahead and call me callous, but with a name like Shango, I cannot afford to tread lightly. I want a name only the brave can say, so only they can love me the right way. Pass it to the light, Shango the pickaxe. People wanna mud my soul just to see through my cracks. If you have to ask why I changed my name, then it is already far beyond your comprehension. So go ahead and call me callous, but with a name like Shango, I cannot afford to tread lightly. If you have to ask why I changed my name, then it is already far beyond your comprehension. So go ahead and call me callous, but with a name like Shango, I cannot afford to tread lightly. If you have to ask why I changed my name, then it is already far beyond your comprehension. So go ahead and call me callous, but with a name like Shango, I cannot afford to tread lightly.
This is a short quote from Black Elk, who was the chief of the Oglala Sioux in the 19th century. He said, "I did not see anything in New York in 1886 to help my people. I could see that the Wasichus, or the white man, did not care for each other the way that our people did before the nation's hoop was broken. They would take everything from each other if they could, and so there were some who had more of everything than they could use, while crowds of people had nothing at all and maybe were starving. This could not be better than the old ways of my people.
I could see the Wasiku did not care for each other. Take everything from one and all.
I did not see anything to help my people. Help my did not care for each other the way our people did. Before the nation's root was broken. They would take everything from each other if they could. Not be better than the old ways of life.
The nation's broken. Take everything from one
I did not see anything to help my people.
While crowds of people had nothing at all.
Not care for each other the way our people did before the nation starving. They would take everything from one another if they could. And so there were some who had more of everything than they
This
could
could
use.
not.
While crowds of people had nothing, nothing at all, and maybe they were starving. This could not be better than the old ways of my people. The nation's hoop was broken. I did not see anything to help my people. While crowds of people had nothing at all. Maybe they were starving.
Everything from each other.
This could not be better than the old ways
Some
of my
had
people.
more of everything than they could use. The nation's hoop
I could see that the Washington
was
did not
broken.
care
I
for
Did
each
not
other
see
the
anything
way our people did.
The
that would help
Washington
my
did not
people.
care for each other.
Was broken.
The nation's hoop was broken.
This could not be better. So our penultimate number is text from the inaugural address, the second inaugural address of President Barack Obama. It's a very long address, so I'm only going to read you one paragraph. But we have always understood that when times change, so what must we? That our fidelity to our founding principles requires new responses to new challenges, that preserving our individual freedoms ultimately requires collective action. For the American people can no more meet the demands of today's world by acting alone than American soldiers could have met the forces of fascism or communism with muskets and militias. No single person can train all the math and science teachers we'll need to equip our children for the future, or build the roads and networks and research labs that will bring new jobs and businesses to our shores. Now, more than ever, we must do these things together as one nation and one people.
and fills our hearts with pride. No longer seems to be on our side. We do not believe that in our country, freedom should be reserved for the lucky. If we keep on down this path, we won't be able to turn back.
They are the words of citizens, and they represent our greatest hope. You and I, as citizens, have the power to set this country's course. You and I, as citizens, have the obligation to shape the debates of our time, not only with the votes we cast, but with the voices we lift in defense of our most ancient values and enduring ideals. Let us each of us now embrace with solemn
Tolerance and opportunity and human dignity and justice. Tolerance and opportunity and human dignity and justice. Tolerance and opportunity and human dignity and justice. For now, decisions are upon us. Yes, they are, and we cannot afford to delay. We must make ourselves anew and vow to move forward as one.
Before we commence with the final of our performances this evening, I wanted to thank all of you for being here in this very audacious experiment. This is the first open-air, socially distant concert that we have had outside here that we know of here at William Patterson, and we are so thankful that you are here to support all of us this evening. And we are definitely grateful for our administration. I see several administrators out here. I see Josh Powers, our provost, and Loretta McLaughlin-Vignier, our interim dean, I believe is over there. And our department chair is right there, Dr. Timothy Newman. And again, thank you to Al Schaefer and his staff with the Shea Center for being able to help us in this very crazy project that we had put together today. And of course, our students, because they're the ones who did all the work. I mean, it seems a little amazing to us, but the faculty did very little on this project. The students did all kinds of the composition work on our own. So we were here to support them. We met with them on the side. We helped them with decisions that they wanted to make, or if they were finding themselves stepping in a little hole and they needed to be pulled out a little bit. Ways to think about things. Of course, Peyton McDonald was super helpful with percussion. Chris was amazing with text and how students could work together as a team. And then we all work together to make this a really successful event for our students, because most of them have never composed before, ever, on this project. So let's give them one more round of applause. Our final text this evening is Theme for English B, text by Langston Hughes. This is fun. Go home and write a page tonight, and let that page come out of you. Then it will be true. I wonder if it's that simple. I am 22, colored, born in Winston-Salem. I went to school there, then Durham, then here, to this college on the hill above Harlem. I am the only colored student in my class. The steps from the hill lead down into Harlem through a park. Then I cross St. Nicholas, 8th Avenue, 7th, and I come to the Y, the Harlem Branch Y, where I take the elevator up to my room, sit down, and write this page. It's not easy to know what is true for you or me at 22, my age. But I guess I'm what I feel and see and hear. Harlem, I hear you. Hear you, hear me, we too, you, me, talk on this page. I hear New York too. Me? Who? Well, I like to eat, sleep, drink, and be in love. I like to work, read, learn, and understand life. I like a pipe for a Christmas present, or records, Bessie, Bop, or Bach. I guess being colored doesn't make me not like the same things other folks like who are other races. So will my page be colored that I write? Being me, it will not be white, but it will be a part of you, instructor. You are white, yet a part of me, as I am a part of you. That's American. Sometimes perhaps you don't want to be a part of me, nor do I often want to be a part of you. But we are. That's true. As I learn from you, I guess you learn from me. Although you're older and white and somewhat more free. This is my page for English B.
And let that page come out of you, then it will be true, true.
It's not easy to know what is true for you or me at 22 my age, but I guess I'm what I feel and see here. Harlem, I hear you. Hear me, we are two. You and me talk on this page. Me, who I like to eat, sleep, drink, and be in love. I like to work, read, learn, and understand life. I like a pipe for a Christmas present or records. Bessie Bop or Bach, I guess being colored doesn't make me not like the same thing other folks who are other races. It's not easy to know what is true for you or me at 22 my age, but I guess I'm what I'm feeling, seeing here. Harlem, I hear you, hear me, we are two. You and me talk on this page. Me, who? So will my page be colored that I write? Being me, it will not be white, but it will be a part of you, instructor. You are white, yet a part of me, as I am a part of you. That's American. Sometimes you wanna be a part of me, but do I often wanna be a part of you. That's true. As I learn from you, I guess you learn from me. Although you're older and white and some are more free, this is my page for English always be.
Thank you all. Have a safe and healthy weekend and be well.